All right, let's do the main event breakdown for this Saturday's UFC 228 card in Dallas, Texas. I'm ready. Tyron Woodley defends his UFC welterweight belt against Darren Till from Liverpool, England. What goes down in this fight?
I'm tagging you back. You go first.
All right, the odds are Tyron Woodley minus 120, Darren Till minus 110. I know that sounds weird, but when it's that close, the house has to get that juice. You know, they got to get the vig. So shop around because there is a plus on either guy, whether it's in Costa Rica or whether it's here in Vegas or wherever you do your gambling. Do it safely. All right, I like Tyron Woodley in this fight because I think Darren Till basically swayed me himself. You can just tell, man, he's miserable just talking to the media. He's not enjoying this ride, and even though he's hungry and young and he's a lion and he's a gorilla and he's bigger and he's this and he's that, there is something to once they lock the cage and you're in there against a stud like Tyron Woodley who can do it all. He can turn your lights out. He can basically outpatience you. I mean, he's mitigated the strengths of some really, really great fighters, but then he's also iced like Robbie Lawler and Jay Haran and Josh Koscheck. So, you know, he's got his hands full, and I just think that experience and going through all this process is actually an advantage on top of the X's and O's, on top of the skill sets and everything. I think he's just going to find a way to pull through and hold on to his title. I think it's going to go the distance. I just hope it's an exciting fight because T. Wood needs one of those, man. The fans have not been liking his style lately. Dan, Tom, what do you got?
This fight feels like it could be two fights. We could either have Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo on our hands, right? Which I was initially leaning toward. We have a guy, a southpaw striker, making an almost improbable run to the title and taking out one of the best namestays. Or this could be more Dan Hardy, George St. Pierre, where we have a talented fighter, but maybe a little too much too soon against one of the welterweight greats. I'm leaning more toward the latter. I think the statistics more importantly point toward the latter. I mean, Tyron Woodley, if you include the fight that never happened at UFC 192 against Johnny Hendricks, this will be his 8th camp against a southpaw fighter. And, of course, that's including the switch stance stylist that is Stephen Thompson. And Tyron Woodley counters kicks well. Of course, he has the wrestling in his back pocket. And I think his pacing issues, which has been one of his criticism, he's shown he can really, go to pace with a guy like Stephen Thompson for 5 rounds, or even Damian Maia with one arm was able to just defend takedowns. He didn't throw a lot of strikes, but he kept pretty active as far as that in that regard goes. I think he dictates the terms for this fight.
Ahora tú!
Don't underestimate a man who has a chip on his shoulder, and that's what Darren Till has. He has a chip on his shoulder. However, that won't be enough to defeat a guy like Tyron Woodley, who's been here, done that. I think his patience is a virtue, and I think his ability to win rounds, that'll probably be, when you match that up with his counter-striking, I think that's how he's going to do it. He's going to blend a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of striking, but I think he's going to win a decision. The judges better keep their eyes open. Eat your Wheaties, because I think we're going to need you this night.
And there you go. That is the main event breakdown for UFC 228, which goes down on Saturday in Dallas, Texas. Keep it locked all week on MMAjunkie.com.